Hey guys, 17.3 is here. High skill workout. I really like it. I think it's really suited well for Invictus athletes. We do a lot of snatching throughout the year. We've prepared really well for this, not just last week. In the last week, we actually did a lot of moderate to heavy barbell cycling with snatches in a workout with wall ball shots. And so I think we're well prepared, but even before that, throughout the entire open prep cycle, we did a lot of snatch work for consistency and higher volume. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think our guys are going to perform really well. I sent out in the program, there's a document that has all of our movement considerations, things we want people to think about, how they're going to set up, what kind of gear that they should be thinking about, and how they should approach certain movement strategies. So I'm not going to talk about those right now. What I do want to talk about is pacing considerations. Let me say this, the open announcement, unlike what is typically the case where we see athletes that are not going to perform the highest scores, the open announcement, you saw Fraser and Panchak, who are going to put up very high scores in this. Now, there may be somebody that comes out and beats Fraser's score, but we're not going to see the kind of disparity that we saw in the first two at open announcement where people were coming out and destroying those efforts, and those guys were redoing and beating their own efforts by a lot. I don't think you're going to see that in this workout. This is too high skill. This is not one where kind of understanding pacing and willpower is probably going to be the difference in those top level guys. So I'll look forward to being proved wrong. Hopefully one of you guys goes well under 17. But what we want to look at is more the preparation for determining your goal. Okay, this is a high skill workout. We're not going to be able to give a pacing consideration based on kind of critical drop-off and standard physiology, because once people start missing snatches, that all goes out the window. So what we have to think about is, what are you capable of snatching, and what are you capable of snatching under duress, so that we can set a goal that's appropriate for you, okay? In other words, if your max snatch is 235, your goal is probably get through the 185s, and then let's see if we can do work on 225, okay? That's just being realistic, because we've got to make sure that we pace accordingly, and we have to make sure that we get a decent tiebreak score, because there will be a lot of people jumbled up at that no snatches in the first category, whether that's at 225 or 245 or 265. So we want to make sure that we plan for that accordingly. We have given some pacing checkpoints though, just looking at and watching some of our athletes do it tonight, some of our regular gym members, and what we would say is that if you want to get through the 185s, we're probably going to have to set some relatively aggressive checkpoints, okay? Now, if you watch Fraser, Panchak, those guys were through the first, the 135 barbell by like 430 and less, okay? So that's cooking pretty good. And those guys obviously move the weight very efficiently, but even to get to 430, they were dropping to singles, but they were moving quickly back and forth in their transitions. So we want to aim for at least a 5-minute checkpoint if your goal is simply to get through the 185s. Okay, by checking in after the 135 barbell at the 5-minute mark, you give yourself the opportunity to get a little time on your 185. You're still going to have to take a snatch every 27 to 30 seconds. We're gonna lose a minute in the pull-ups and at least the transitions to the pull-ups, right? So if you've got 27 to 30 seconds to hit each snatch, your 12 snatches gives you a chance to complete the 185 barbell and move on to 225, okay? So if you get 530, you just need to know that if you're that far down in the checkpoint, you're gonna have to move a little quicker. Now for some of you guys, that sounds like a long time, every 30 seconds, but the assumption is if your goal is just to get to the 225 barbell, that you're probably gonna need some time on the 185 barbell between reps. That you're not cycling it every 10 seconds or every 5 seconds like you may have seen on the open announcement, okay? For those of you guys whose goal is to complete the 225 barbell, the 225, 155, I would establish a checkpoint at around 9 minutes. That 9-minute checkpoint is going to give you 37 to 40 seconds per snatch, or potentially you can push it to 10 but you got to know that you're going to have to move quickly on the snatches, right? We also want to build in some margin for error on you know, a potential miss on a snatch. So we want to see athletes kind of checking in at the higher side of some of these checkpoints in their real main event, their goal rounds, okay? Now, for the few of you guys that are going to be trying to complete the 245 barbell, I would set our checkpoints at 13 to 14. That is going to give you more time, but frankly, at that stage in the workout with the volume accumulated and the increasing pull-up reps, you're going to want more closer to 45 to 55 seconds per snatch, okay? And remember, guys, when we're talking about those 40, you need to take a snatch every 45 or 55 seconds. That includes the time that you're transitioning after your pull-ups. You're putting some chalk on your hands. So it may sound like a lot of time when we sketch it out, but trust me, if you're late on these checkpoints, it's going to be really tight to make your goal, and you're going to have to start racing a little bit. That's the one thing we don't want our athletes doing. At the heavier barbells, as you get to the higher range of your 1 rep max percentages, we want you to be calm. We want you to be confident. We want you to set up properly, visualize, make sure you sweep the bar back, and make every snatch look good and consistent. If you can be smooth with your snatches, you'll have a much better chance of performing this workout than if you feel panicked and raced, okay? So these are the checkpoints that we would suggest. Make sure you read through the full document on movement considerations and some of the other points that we give. And if you have any questions, of course, reach out to us. Just comment on the blog, shoot us an email, and we'll make sure we get back to you.